Well, let's talk more about this. Filippo Dionigi is a senior lecturer in international relations at the University of Bristol. Filippo, thanks very much for speaking to France 24 today. Since the attack there, the Hamas's attack on Israel, there's been a mounting of tensions, you might say, in the region. How's that playing out when it comes to Lebanon and Israel?
I think it's a very complex picture. I think what we're witnessing is a progressive increase of tensions on the border between Lebanon and Israel. And I think at stakes here, there are at least 2-3 different strategies. I think Israel on its end is playing a deterrence game. And what they're trying to prevent is the possibility that the tension is too high and they may be subjected to excessive aggressive action from the northern border, and maybe perhaps even the opening a second border between Lebanon and Israel, of course. The other strategies that are at stakes here instead come from the other side. I think on one end we see Hezbollah that is basically trying to communicate solidarity and try to build on the achievements that have been made through the Hamas attack on one hand, and then also keep the possibility and the credibility of the second border opening at the north credible as a threat to Israel, and therefore keeping the tension high also in that respect.
I mean, is it fair to say that Hezbollah is militarily strong, I should say, but kind of politically weak in some senses? Let's think about the situation in Lebanon, the dire economic situation. How much is that playing into Hezbollah's response to the tensions in the region currently?
I think, Rochelle, you're very right in that respect. Hezbollah militarily is very strong. We know this. It's well-funded, it's well-trained, its fighters are motivated, and in the past 10 years, it has also acquired significant combat experience in Syria, and specifically in urban warfare. So exactly that kind of warfare that they may face if they ever decide to attack Israel, or vice versa, if Israel decides to attack Lebanon to a greater extent than what has happened until now, right? But politically, the picture is very complex. Whereas Hezbollah is militarily strong, politically is facing a very significant crisis of legitimacy to an extent. Lebanon is in a devastating economic, political, and social situation. At the economic level, it has never faced such a situation before. It has declared bankruptcy, basically. Politically is stalling. There is no government, there is no president, there is a caretaking government, and there doesn't seem to be a political solution until now. And the social level, obviously, the repercussions of this are devastating. Poverty is increasing to an unprecedented level. There is migration outside to go outside of Lebanon exactly to find new economic resources, producing brain drain, of course. Again, there is a very great deal of dissatisfaction towards the entire political class of Lebanon, and Hezbollah is part of that political class, of course. Therefore, the risk of dragging Lebanon into the Arab-Israeli conflict once again, it's something that will come at a very, very high political cost.
A very, very high cost that could see public support turn against Hezbollah, if you will. So there may be this kind of fragile understanding, if you will, that Hezbollah might not intervene too much in this. Of course, there's always the risk of escalations. Possible ground invasion by Israel could send things really into full escalation.
I'm afraid that might be the case. I agree. Look, the reality is that I don't think Hezbollah and not even Iran, to be honest, have a very strong appetite for a regional escalation for this conflict at this point. If you think about it, at least this is my interpretation, Hezbollah, Iran, the axis of resistance, as they like to call themselves, they have already achieved enormous objectives with the Hamas operation until now. I can just mention 3 to begin with. First, they have exacerbated the sense of vulnerability of Israel at a level that historically has never been witnessed so much. Second, they have stalled the normalization process that was about to take place possibly between Saudi Arabia and Iran. So a major regional shift that would have very much endangered their security at a regional level. And thirdly, that brought back the Arab-Israeli conflict at the top of the global political agenda, which means they come back again on top of the whole of what they like to call, they're basically their raison d'etre, their reason to exist in a sense, right? So that's already some very significant achievements. Going beyond that and pay a very high military price, such as a regional war or perhaps even a global war at that point, maybe a too high price to pay for those achievements. And instead, they may try to capitalize on what they achieved so far, keeping the tension high on the northern border, keeping the threat of a possible second front to open as a reality, but hopefully not going beyond a strategy of tension. At least that's my hope. Then things can always go much worse, unfortunately.
Indeed, Filippo, you've outlined a complex geopolitical situation for us and, of course, humanitarian situation of the University of Bristol. Thanks very much for sharing your thoughts with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.